Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Her Messy Bun. I'm your host, Danielle, and today I'm going to do like a mix between a story time and talking about risks. Because as entrepreneurs, we constantly are taking risks. No matter how long you've been self-employed, nothing is guaranteed. But that does not mean that we never reach a point in our career where the risk ratio lowers. So it's less of a risk than it would have been in the beginning of us taking said risk in the beginning of our journey. So for instance, as you grow your business, social media platforms, and connections with your audience, you're lowering the risk of if your next launch will be successful or not, because you're creating these connections, you're building the trust. So the risk lowers just a little bit. Then if you've already had a successful one, your risk lowers again. So there's good risks and there's nerve-wracking, this might blow up in my face risks. And a good risk is when you're about to do something that has the potential of exponentially growing your business. But if it falls through, nothing horrible or negative will happen to your business. The worst thing that could happen is that you just spent a bunch of hours working on this project that didn't work out, that people don't really know didn't work out unless you decide to share that on social media or with your email list. So a nerve-wracking, this might blow up in my face risk is one that has the potential of doing the exact opposite. Worst case scenario is actually that your business might go broke and that you lose it all. As early stage entrepreneurs, though, we tend to take a risk that leans more towards the good risks or the in-between of the good and the nerve-wracking. And like I said, this is an episode about story time and my big risks. So here are 3 big risks that I've taken as an entrepreneur. And the last one that I mentioned is the most recent one that I've taken, as in January 1st, 2022, and still has the opportunity to totally bite me in the ass. So stay tuned for that one. Risk number 1 was becoming an entrepreneur. So choosing to leave the corporate world to pursue self-employment was one of the biggest life-changing decisions that I've ever made. Although all through high school, I had always said that I was going to work for myself eventually. I wanted to create something from the ground up. I knew that this was part of my journey, but I had been working since I was 15. And in order to afford college, I had to work. This was when I was a marketing coordinator for a corporate restaurant and flying high on the corporate networking world, where they really schmoozed you with good food and even better drinks. So needless to say, when I graduated with my bachelor's in graphic design and marketing, my dream of working for myself was hidden at the prospects of what the corporate design and marketing world could, quote unquote, provide for me. So fast forward through years of toxic environments, and at the time, undiagnosed ADHD burnout. So I decided I was tired of my marketing and design ideas becoming somebody else's genius 3 months after I already introduced the concept to the entire team with an execution plan. Like, how cool is that? I brought the execution plan, but then it became somebody else's success. Make it make sense. This was a risk I was willing to take because I knew my talent, my potential, and my ability to find ways to make it work. I also was very privileged to have a partner not only cheering me on for my dreams, but also willing to let me lean on him if I needed to. Thankfully, I didn't need to, but I'm just saying. He was there. That's a privilege. I really want to point that out. It's a very, very scary thing to do completely on your own. And I think that's what held me back for so long as well. Aside from the really good food and really good drinks, I'm just saying. All right. So the same day that I chose to put my 2 weeks in, I actually got fired. Yeah, I know. I was totally risk balked, but I wanted to mention this one because it's what started it all for me. Had they not fired me and I received my severance package, the risk of leaving my comfy corporate job with absolutely no backup other than knowing that I was going to start networking again for freelance graphic design clients could have turned out a lot worse than it did. I'm talking a lot worse. Risk number 2 is shifting my self-employment career. So after initially becoming self-employed, I decided to follow a long lost dream of starting a product shop. Ironically, the product that I chose had nothing to do with my past career or my profession at all. I had always wanted to make homemade candles, all natural candles, and I was fucking good at it. During my initial launch, I exceeded expectations and continued to sell out at every craft show, art show, and almost every location that I was in. Now, this was because I had experience in sales. I had experience in customer service, in networking, in design, in marketing, and etc. Because of this experience, I was able to exceed expectations at my launch. And that's like 10 years plus experience in customer service and sales. So if you're brand new to that environment, it might not be the same outcome for you, but that I just wanted to point that out because that does not mean that I had this overnight success. And I also took about 3 to 6 months prepping, learning everything that I could about this business that I was building, about craft shows, art shows, and like selling in bulk to people. So I had done a lot of research along with a lot of experience combined into one small product business. That was part of the reason why it exceeded so quickly. And to all my product shop owners listening, this success was all in-person success. I had less than 500 followers on Instagram at the time and barely any sales on Etsy, but I found ways to blow up my business, even if it looked like I was still small online. And honestly, I say this all the time to my clients, numbers on social media really don't matter anymore. They're between being able to buy followers to, let me share this one with you. I genuinely posted a TikTok that was so good that I was like super excited for it. And somebody commented on it that was like clearly running like a bot scam. And he was like, or it was like, this is a great video. I'm going to give you 10,000 views for your talents. And the next thing I know, I had 10,000 views. Like their numbers on social media don't matter anymore, especially because of how fake numbers can be. So let me backtrack to my story. So I was talking about how I had 500 followers on Instagram at the time and barely any sales on Etsy, but I found ways to blow up my business, even if it looked like I was still small online, which is what kickstarted my friends and other product businesses to reach out to me and ask for advice on how to do it themselves, which is why I actually started Her Messy Bun to begin with. My third business that I was so excited to bring into the mix, that is this business right now. I wanted a platform where I could answer all these questions in bulk for my friends and family, as well as new people that were following me or new people that I met at these craft shows, so that I wasn't repeating myself with advice. I also did a few YouTube videos about how to sell at craft shows, how to start up your business, etc. And a lot of people from the craft shows ended up learning from those as well. Okay, anyways, now that you have the backstory, the risk that I took in this number 2 risk of shifting my business is that it was almost a year after running Her Messy Bun creative consulting and podcast. I just felt so stretched thin. And as someone who values burnout prevention and sustainable productivity, I had to make a decision, which is why after 10 months of running 3 businesses, I sold my candle business to have more time to pursue what would come from Her Messy Bun. And at the time, my candle business was not only bringing in just under half of my income, but it was also connecting me and allowing me to network myself as a product shop business to other product shop owners that could then help me grow Her Messy Bun. But because I was so stretched thin, I had to make that decision, and I don't regret it whatsoever, but it was a risk, especially leaning fully onto social media instead of in-person networking. That's a big risk because social media is not a guarantee at all. Risk number 3, which is the one that I was telling you guys about in the beginning, is the one that I just recently took. This is all about purposely declining clients. This is the biggest risk I think I've ever taken since becoming self-employed. This risk, while still educated and semi-safe, has the potential to blow up in my face so bad. But I'm okay with it because I'm so happy. One of the most common phrases or quotes that I've heard along the way in the last 5 to 6 years of growing my businesses was, and I quote, "You need multiple streams of income to fall back on just in case." And I know I've said it in a few videos and potentially even podcast episodes way in the beginning, but I also feel like you really need to follow your gut instincts and your intuition. At this point in my career, I have successfully run and operated 3 businesses. My service-based graphic design and marketing company that I've had since leaving corporate. My profitable product-based candle business that I was able to not only profit from, but also sell for a profit when I decided to be done with it. And finally, Her Messy Bun, a content creation based business that has become my dream business. And not because of the content creation side of it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love making podcasts, YouTubes, and TikToks to help educate you guys. But my favorite part of it is connecting with you guys. Anyways, I took a huge risk all of last year by not only turning down new graphic design clients, but also choosing not to renew any of the contracts that I already had in place that were ready to renew, including one that before the pandemic would almost bring $10,000 a month for me, just one client. And you guys know I never talk about money, but I feel like this is really important and a good time to talk about money, considering it's like the biggest risk I've ever fucking taken. So my graphic design clients were over 50% of my income. And at one point, even with the other 2 businesses, they were 75% of my income, roughly. These are all rough numbers. And what gave us the financial freedom that we'd always hoped for, including finances to be able to afford starting and hiring a team, travel when we wanted, and to buy a home for our family, which we were able to do. I even got rid of my big fish client, the one who before COVID replaced my cushy corporate salary job, the one that I literally just mentioned. And that was so scary. So 2022 marks the start of giving 100% of my time and effort into Her Messy Bun, a risk that really does not feel like a risk at all. My graphic design clients, while profitable, had corporate energy. And like I said earlier, as somebody who values burnout prevention and sustainable productivity, I could no longer justify continuing on that path. I felt like a hypocrite if I would have continued on that path, knowing how I was defining Her Messy Bun and how I was helping my clients. So because the contracts were still in place, I couldn't really talk about it, but now I can. And they're not healthy clients. Like I made a video about graphic design on TikTok, and a few of the comments were like, how come nobody talks about just how toxic graphic design clients can be and how exhausting they can be? And just talking with your clients can be a burnout. Anyways, I took these pay cuts and risks to help me achieve my long-term goals and visions that I have for Her Messy Bun. And I have honestly never been happier, ever. So the whole point of Her Messy Bun creative consulting and podcast is to help you guys find ways to create sustainable productivity, find out how to prevent burnout or avoid burnout, as I've been saying lately, but also to really tap into your creative mindset. And if there are vampire energy or energy vampires, yeah, we're going to call them energy vampires. If you are working with energy vampires, that is the biggest insult to your mental health, especially if you've been trying to work on your mental health and your creative mindset. So I hope my story and my journey, while sharing only 3 of the biggest risks I've taken so many more. I hope that this helps you be less intimidated when it comes to being self-employed, because I know a lot of times that no one really talks about their journeys or their failures or their risks. And I would be more than happy to start opening up more about the big risks or even the small risks, as well as the failures. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have a, oh my gosh, I failed episode and video coming out very, very shortly. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, until next time, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you could, please share this with everybody that you know, because I am planning on making sure Her Messy Bun gets big in 2022. Love you guys. Bye.